This just in. Breaking news.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fresh off of her Daytona weekend, we have Alli Owens for you. Alli, how are you doing tonight?
I'm back. Thank you for having me again. Super exciting.
Thank you for coming back. I mean, after the weekend you had, we knew we had to get you back on here sooner rather than later. So, I mean, from our end, it looked like you had a good weekend. How first of all, how did the kids handle seeing Racer Mom for like the first time, like beyond practice?
So noon races are not going to work for the baby. That's nap time. That was a task. So my cousin Chelsea Owens, Robinson, she got married now. She came out and I was just like, listen, I will buy you credentials. I need you to come out here and babysit the baby. So he hung out in the motorhome, but my kids, let me just tell you, they tore up the fan zone. They loved that. They were all over the Jumbotron. They thought it was so cool. They had a whole cheering section in there. When I talk about hype girls, I had my entire hype just in the fan zone. So they really enjoyed that. And I think for them, they had a few of their friends come out and see that. And then going back to school, you know, they go to school where I grew up and went to school. So a lot of the teachers taught me. So they're like interrupting class to be like, how's your mom? What's your mom doing? And so it was a whole vibe for them to come down and get to experience it. But the cool thing is right after the race, they're like, when are we doing it again? And I'm like, gotcha.
They got hooked. Was it just the ambiance and the experience of everything going on, or was there, you know, talking to them afterwards, was there something that just kind of grabbed their attention that made them? Because for me, I know it was the senses, like the sights, the sounds, the smell, all that stuff.
Yeah, and I think actually one of my Bighorn guests, because they brought out a whole bunch of people to collaborate, a lot of influencers, and they actually hit the nail on the head. They said the disconnect between watching NASCAR on TV and being there living it is so crazy. They said in any sports event that they've ever gone to, whether it be basketball, hockey, football, you know kind of what to expect when you're watching it on the TV. There's not much of a difference from watching it on TV to being there. NASCAR is a completely different experience. They said you feel it in your chest, you smell it, you taste it, like all of your senses are on fire. And they said it was the coolest thing they've ever been a part of. And I think my daughters felt the exact same way. And it just amplifies when you're like, oh my gosh, that's my mom. So that was a cool thing for them. Obviously, the wreck was a little bit of a moment for them to kind of feel the anxiety that my parents have had. But they thought it was so cool. They really, really enjoyed it, and they had the headset on so they could hear everything. So it was a good time for them.
Now, I know you posted on your Facebook, and I can't remember exactly, but I know your daughters, your son probably could have done it if they could have got a Justin Haley seat in one of those petty cars. But so your daughters got to do the petty experience. What was that like for them?
So it's so funny because I scheduled them for like the 8:00 in the morning one. So like getting them to go to the track, they were like sleeping in the back seat. But once they got there and they were ready to rock and roll, like they thought it was the coolest thing. My oldest daughter, she's 5'11", she's 14. So she doesn't get to fit in my seat at all. So the only one that's ever actually sat in a race car is Addison, which is the one that you're seeing right there in the picture. And Braylon, there's Braylon. Braylon's like, I went into turn 2. She's like, Mom, I just wanted to throw up. I laughed, and she's like, that's so crazy. You feel it like that. She's like, you feel the pressure in your throat. And I'm like, yeah, imagine, 30 more mile an hour with 40 other cars around you. She's like, no.
Well, I'm glad they got to experience that, especially at, at such a younger age. And that kind of goes back to something we touched on when we had you on the first time around. It's like there's so many things you got to experience with your family that you wouldn't have got to experience maybe if things had gone differently in the past. So it's like definitely one of those situations where it wasn't wrong turns. It was just the unexpected destination and the roads that you did not choose to go down to get there. So that was awesome to experience, just following you on your socials and whatnot. But yeah, and man, heck of a run too. I mean, producer Josh and I are biased towards the drivers and the personalities that give us their time. And so, we had some people that we were keeping our eyes on. Obviously, producer Josh working for Class, we were keeping our eyes on Glenn Reen and Andy Jankowiak. But here comes Alli. I mean, it seems like in no time you were up towards the front half of the pack. Well, I mean, how was that for you?
So I think my ARCA career was underrated from, I've always felt like every time we had a good run, there was some type of a thing, like something happened that like, I never felt like I got to showcase my talent and I always known that I've had it. And like, I think maturity wise is a beautiful thing. And no one ever gets to experience it in a race car. You kind of look at like Denny Hamlin and, Kyle Busch, and their driving ability is much different than like a Carson or a, Noah or any of the young guns coming up. You see a little bit of a different driving technique. So like I knew going into it that I have nothing to lose. If it was Daytona and done, it's Daytona and done. I think when I raced before, I was always cautious because I knew whatever crashes or anything like that occurred, that was money out of the racing budget. So like I felt like I wasn't pushing myself to my abilities back then. So coming into Daytona now, and I love my spotter, Mark. He was just absolutely amazing because he said, okay, you're clear high, you're clear low, clear in the middle if you want it. And a lot of spotters don't give you the freedom to do that. And actually when the team owners was like, I can't believe he was like giving you an option. And I was like, that's awesome for me because I feel like I could always have been a great super speedway spotter. I see things. I don't drive off of my hood pins. It's like I look far enough ahead. So like when I can sit there and see that the line on the outside is slowing up, but I'm watching these guys bottleneck on the bottom. And I'm like, my car runs better when I can just be in the throttle because it wasn't sucking up very good. I was like, get me to the outside. I don't care if it's slower. We're faster, even if we're going backwards. And so like you'll see in the race, and I've rewatched it, like anytime I was on the bottom, I just kept losing the draft. I had to be up top or in the middle, and that's where we were really good at. So I loved that part of it. But that is one thing I could tell you that I'm very proud of myself, and I'll stand, my ground on this is there was no wrecks for attrition that whole race until my wreck, which means we went from 30th to 6th on our own. We drove up there, and I worked my butt off. A couple things about the race car. My helmet hose was stuck on my seat, so that really wasn't working correctly. And then my water bottle, I somehow pulled the hose out of the water. So I was no water, no AC, like in that car doing what I need to do after 16 years off. So I was just straight out getting after it. And it was really great that people saw that, because you never know when you're in the race car. Like you don't know what everybody's watching. You don't know what they're talking about on TV. You don't know anything other than what you're doing. And I could feel it. I was on the backstretch screaming at myself, like, let's go. We're going to the front. Like I was talking to myself through it. Like, don't be afraid. Like stick your nose in there and let's go. Like, just let's go. And then you go back and you see Mark Martin. Like Mark Martin posted about me. Like that is my hero. Like I grew up watching this guy. Like, who am I? I'm a 37-year-old mom from Daytona Beach. And he's like, that's awesome. And you just kind of hear all these things, and you hear Phil Parsons talking about you, and you're just like, it's happening. And you don't know that it's happening. And you're just sitting back these next couple days. And I'm just like, this is crazy. And it's awesome being a female and having 90% positive feedback. That's not normal. it's always a mixed bag. And I feel like we are really in the positive when it comes to feedback from people. And there's really not a lot of trash talking. There's your few, but it's not a lot. And that's not normal. So that's been a huge thing for me with this run that we had, even though we wrecked, so.
Yeah. And then that having been said, I mean, the wreck in itself, it wasn't like a lot of people looked at it and they said, okay, well, there's smoke, the engine blew. Maybe she was over driving it, or maybe the equipment that she's in was subpar. But after Will Kimmel got under the hood and actually dissected the situation, it was a punctured oil line. It had nothing to do with the engine giving up on you, and so you weren't over driving it. And the only reason you wrecked is because you can't drive on slick tires on an oil slick, especially if it's covering the right side of your car.
I mean, for the TV commentators and everybody to think that I blew a motor because of how much oil and smoke there was, imagine what was actually being sprayed underneath that car. Like, I rolled out of the gas as soon as he said smoke. There's no vibration because it's an oil line. A lot of people are like, oh, why didn't she slow down? I don't know, because there's nothing indicating if the car's broke until I going down into the turn. I can't handle it. So, like, I let out of the gas. I was rolling to the outside. And, like, when oil is just spewing on your tires and your brakes, like, there's no slowing that car down. And at that moment in time, I knew it was going to be a hard hit. So, that
was going to be one of the next questions I ask is how was that, first time back, you had the highs and the lows, because not only do you experience that, but then the actual crash itself, how are you handling that aspect of it? Looking at 3 days later now.
I remember hitting the wall at Daytona in 2009 in the number 19 car. And I remember hurting. Like, I remember a lot of things hurting and being sore and, like, really having to take a deep breath. I was fine this go around. Like, I ran a Randy LaJoy seat. The car is just like, yes, it was a hard hit where I was just like, ugh, like when I hit, because you're just like, you just hit the wall at 180 miles an hour. But like my knee's a little bruised because I hit it on the knee knocker. But like other than that, like I had a little bit of a headache and I took some Tylenol and then cracked open a beer, ate Philly cheesesteak in the fan zone. I was good to go. So like
how did the girls handle it though? I mean, seeing their mom.
So they were in the fan zone watching the Jumbotron, and I just made sure I came on the radio and said, I'm okay. Like, make sure you let my kids know that I'm okay. So they met me down at the infield care center. And that was when I just had my moment of tears. Not because I was hurt, just like, God dang, man, like so close, 12 to go, And it's unfortunate because I have lost more races at Daytona and Talladega from mechanical failures than I have ever lost them because of driver error. And it just sucks because we're always up front. Like, I honestly feel if you are a team owner and you're like, hey, who's a driver that we could hire that's not going to cost us an arm and a leg, that's smart, I feel like I could be in that category because I feel like I prove that. Not everybody can go from 30th to 6th. Like, and understand the draft and like be cautious and clean and keep keep everything at bay. I mean, we were definitely on our way to a top 5 finish. Could we have won that race? We were not strong enough to be a lead car at all. It would have had to be where I was just being very creative to come out there and do something crazy. But do I think we could have been in a top 5? Yeah, absolutely. 100%. No doubt in my mind. Just from being smart.
That quick side question, because Sean Core is an acquaintance of mine, and I know he got caught up in what happened. Did you have a chance to chat with him or the Empire Group afterwards about anything as far as?
I didn't. It was crazy afterwards. Like, it was just like so fast, just everything going on. And then I think the biggest thing with this race is that I don't have money to hire a management team or a marketing team or a PR team. Like, it's me. Like, if media wants to talk to me, they're coming to find me to ask me, can they talk to me? And when you have sponsors lined up and you have 120 guests and you're like, okay, did Bighorn get everything that they needed to get before they leave? Because I know that I'm going to have to ask them, hey, do you want to do this again? Like, I was instantly back into, where's everybody at? What's everybody doing? Is everybody happy? Did everybody get their pictures? Are we all good? Is everybody accounted for? And then like, we rented scanners for people. So it was like, okay, do we collect all of our scanners? Like, it was just right back into the business side that I didn't even get a chance to be like, who all was affected? Who do I need to talk to? Is everybody good? Like, it was straight back into business mode. And that was probably the hardest part of the weekend, is having to wear those hats consistently. Like, Thursday after practice, garage closed, Bighorn Outdoors was having a party in the infield. And guess who's running it? Me. I'm in my fire suit cooking pizzas and hamburgers and chicken on the grill, like right after running my race. Like, there was no one else to handle all of it. So everything that you see from that weekend, from content, from everything to like all of that was like me delegating, like friends, like no paid help. Like, can you please do this? Can you please do that? I'm going to jump in my car for 15 minutes and try to go fast for a second. Can you handle A, B, and C? Okay, I'm out of my car. Now let me rehandle it again. It was a lot. It was a lot, but I feel like I wore the hats good enough where people didn't see that I was overwhelmed. And then as soon as we strapped in the car on Saturday, I was like, all right, I don't care where anybody is. I don't care what's going on. Like, go time. So it was a lot to handle this weekend for sure. So I'm sorry for Sean Core. Like, he's a great guy. I raced with him before. And that was just unfortunate because there was no way I was saving that car going into the turn with oil on my brakes and tires. There's just no way. No matter how much I was letting off the gas. I was completely
I don't
out of it.
think being a racer like he is, you know, as long as he's been in the sport, I don't think he would hold that against you. I mean, because it was obviously something that was beyond your control. But I mean, from my perspective as a fan, keeping up with what's been being put out in the media as far as like your Facebook and stuff like that, you could never guess in a million years that you were handling all that, because everything was good. It was spot on. It was clean. It looked like you wore your hats very well. Speaking of hats being worn, now that you've kind of got that race under your belt, in some of the pictures from the weekend, I noticed you were catching up with some of the young ladies in the garage area, the city garage girls, the young lady that, yes, thank you. It's like you read my mind. That's freaky, but that's another hat you can put on. Yeah, I mean, so if with you having run the race, showing that you can handle the business on track, that you've been through the rigmarole and the ringer of what happened in the past and everything, do you feel like your role as a mentor now to some of these other younger ladies coming up is kind of more substantial than maybe being behind the wheel at some point in time?
So interesting that you say that, because literally in the last 24 hours, Taylor has texted me, Logan Marzaraka has texted me looking for guidance on vocalizing how they feel about being in a race car. Which is interesting because as a female in the past, I don't feel like I carried that torch well, because a lot of self-confidence issues and a lot of naysayers, like so many people just constantly hating on the fact that I was in a race car just because I was a female. This go around, I am 37. I've lived my life. I have gone through more obstacles than I think any person should ever go through in their life, from personal, business, and racing. I've just gone through everything, like anything and everything. And if you don't mind, I'm going to read what I sent Taylor today. Because she posted on there, I think you guys could see on her Facebook, she posted about the Natalie Decker situation, right? Carson Elledge had made a comment about it. Taylor felt like it was her, duty to express her opinion. And she messaged me and she was just like, hey, I don't really know how I feel about what I posted. And I told her, I was just like, let's see here. I was just like, well, first of all, I need you to understand, I have a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old daughter at the racetrack experiencing NASCAR for the first time. Okay. They're excited to see females. They got to meet Logan. They got to meet Taylor. They met Tony Breidinger a few years ago. These are the women that they have seen. Now they go out to the racetrack with their mom, and you have Natalie Decker pulling her fire suit down in her bra. And so Taylor's posting this, and I was just like, listen, it took a 20-minute conversation for my 12 and 14-year-old to get it through their head. Why would someone do that? And it was hard for me to explain. This sport's weird. It messes with you. It does things to you when you think you're doing the right thing. And you're like, I might have to go on this side of it to continue to be there. I don't know Natalie. I can't speak for Natalie. But I can tell you, as a leader and as a woman trying to empower the next generation, as a mother, it was embarrassing. And Carson Elledge said the same thing. And I wanted to let Taylor know, like, Taylor's unique. And I said that to her. I said, you are in a very unique situation because you're beautiful, you're confident, you carry so much poise and attitude that it's inspiring. And even a swimsuit picture that you would post is going to be taking a completely different direction because of what Natalie's done has brought that into a different area than I think it was intended for. Because you have Tony Brightinger on Swimsuit Illustrated. Very professional, classy swimsuit photo. It's a swimsuit. Okay, fine. And I was just like, she's tarnished the whole side of femininity because it's being taken as a joke. There's a way to be beautiful and a way to be a model and a way to sell the sex appeal without going that direction. And it's so frustrating. And so I shared what Taylor posted, and I told her, I was like, listen, I was like, don't, and she's like, oh my God, I'm getting a lot of hate from it. And, Taylor and I don't know each other very well, but for her to come to me as a 26-year-old in the sport that's at a crossroad, it was very humbling to me that they're looking for me to guidance. And I was like, here's what I've learned over all these years. If you don't say what's on your heart, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. And that's coming from somebody that has lived that. You got to stay strong and know what you believe and stay strong for your opinion, because there's people out there that need to hear your words to know that it's okay to speak their truth and be confident in their opinion. You stand strong and I'll stand right there with you. And that's how I feel about these women right now in motorsports, is because I could walk away tomorrow and I'm completely fine. Completely fine. I did what I wanted to do. I showed up. I showed out. I could prove that I could drive a race car. If tomorrow's it, fine. Taylor, Logan, Tony, Becca, you have Gwen, you have Jade out there killing it in late models, getting ready to come over here. You have all these women. Why, out of all the success during Speed Weeks, is the one person that's not taking it seriously getting all the recognition? And that is awful. You had 3 females in the ARCA race that ran clean races, raced their way. I don't know if anybody saw Isabella. She had problems, came from the back. She passed me on the outside like I was a sitting duck and went straight to the front again. And Taylor was like zigging and zagging out of it. I was like, heck yeah. So this is me in my mom mode, right? Because I'm always chasing bottles behind me with the baby. I'm sitting there driving 3 wide in the draft, and Taylor's going, I was like, yes, go, cheering her on. All of us ran the top 10. Not a single peep. Nothing. You look on Facebook and all you're seeing is about Natalie Decker's boyfriend messaging her when she was 14. Then you see, oh, there's a picture of her posing with her sponsor. And now we're seeing her like with her shirt off. Like, why is Taylor not there? Why is Isabella? How come Jade is not being like more broadcasted? She just won a super late model race at New Smyrna. All these things. It just looks like, man, they're not making it easier for us. And the biggest comment I had was somebody's like, oh, well, you need to get over it. I don't care that she's half naked doing whatever she wants to do. I care when it comes to get on the phone with the sponsor, and I have to explain to them that there's a difference in brand marketing from what they're seeing all over NASCAR versus who I am and versus who Taylor is and all these things. And Taylor plays a fine line because she's sponsored by an alcohol company, which tends to be on the party side, that tends to be falling in the realm of what was just broadcasted all over the internet. So it does make it difficult. And obviously you could tell I'm pretty passionate and heated about it. It's because it's like, come on, man, we are all trying to make it. And we right now have the highest class of females that can actually drive race cars. We are not in a position to throw this away right now.
I 100% agree. I mean, I've got my Kaylee Bryson shirt on, first female to win a USAC race, and she's doing one. She's got 2 Trans Am championships. She had a couple ARCA starts last year with the name of the teams. I can't think of it right now, but it's the same team that Minnie Tyrell drove for this past weekend in the 17. Cook's Racing Engineering or Cook's Engineering Enterprises. Anyway, the one thing I like about Taylor, or not the one thing, but one of the things I like about her is her relationship. That, I mean, she's in a relationship with an Xfinity Series champion, and unless you're following their socials or you watch the show that was just on YouTube or Netflix or whatever it is, the same one that had Raja Karuth and Carson Hocevar, you would have no idea because it's not being broadcast and they're not leaning into that in order to promote their actual racing career. It's like, we race, and yes, we happen to be in a relationship with one another. It's not about the, I guess what you would say, like the teenage drama stuff and, you know, trying to be like
make that the story.
Yeah, like we don't need to tell you all this stuff to be popular. We're just going to do our due, and then however the media wants to twist it. Do you think that like, would you look forward to an opportunity to sit down, or not necessarily sit down, just have a phone conversation with Natalie and just kind of, because maybe she's not at that level maturity wise, you know, maybe she's not, because she's still very young.
Yeah, but I don't think she cares. Like, if you listen to some of the other women talk and do interviews, they're talking about women in the sport. They're talking about the movement of women in the sport, and, you know, they're saying hi to each other. And there's pictures I didn't even know existed, like me and Logan hugging on pit road, and like Taylor talking to my kids, and like, you don't hear that from, and I have nothing against, I don't have nothing against Natalie. I really don't, because I don't know her as a person. I can only take face value of what I'm seeing online. But when you keep a pattern and you keep doing things that's not helping your fellow woman, you can't stand for women in sports. You stand for yourself. And if you're going to stand for then that's all you're ever going to be, is yourself. When all of us are rallying together, and we're right there, like, I'm so close to calling all these girls and saying, let's hold a press conference together and just say everything we've ever wanted to say with all the struggles that we have. And we're stronger together than we are individual. And I don't think Natalie would answer the phone and come. I just don't. If I could sit there and say, hey, and Isabella hasn't never approached me either, but I would still be like, hey, what is your take on this, or anything like that. But I can tell you, like, would you extend an olive branch? Chrissy Wallace, right? Chrissy Wallace and me, we had the best relationship when we were younger. And I'm trying so hard to bring that back. I look at Kylie Glick, and I don't know if you follow her or not, but it's like she has the same face and same post for everything that she's doing, like with Vizio and this and that. Like, it's all the same picture all the time. Like, who are you? What is your personality? Like, who are you away from whatever it is that you're trying to pose for? Like, that's what we need. Who are these women? What's their story? And there's only a few that are giving that to us. And the ones that are is who you're seeing positive feedback from the fans, because they can actually have a sincere opinion on who they are. And at the end of the day, like, that's what the sport needs, is character. And I hate that so many of us are afraid. And when Taylor messaged me today and she was afraid to post what she posted, there's our problem. Because we can't freely speak because we're afraid of what the repercussions are going to be. And that's not okay. And that's what happened to me. That's why you saw me in and out, gone, 16 years.
Well, I think God brought you back to the sport for a reason. And maybe after, you know, what are now the quote unquote highlights or the hot topics coming out of the weekend, I think that's good. And I think this is where I'm going to intentionally segue to a lighter mood to kind of but bring the smiles back and everything. And that having been said, so apparently there's a certain driver that is trying to make her way to Talladega. Tell us about Talladega or bust and your shirt thing that you have going on.
I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. So I said Daytona was to prove a point. I did not expect to have people like Mark Martin, Phil Parsons, anybody. I had my old teammate Steve Arpin call me. Like, I didn't expect the troops to rally like they're rallying and say, this is exactly what we need, and have so many fans be so supportive. I can't let it go. You said, like, I think God has every intention of making things happen for a reason. And when I tell you, like, there's a big side of my life you guys don't know it, and that's true. Like, there was a very big void of depression just with everything I went through in life. And it has made me so much stronger. And I feel like my calling isn't necessarily to go out there and I have no desire to race in the Cup Series. I have no desire to race full-time anything at this point. I have a desire to go out there and change the game and be a beacon of light for women in this sport and change the narrative to so many stories that end. And you can't do that in one race when you just unwoken the beast. Like, if we didn't have the crazy responses that we have had, and within 13 hours of Bighorn Outdoors releasing a press release, globally international, 309 media outlets picked it up with over 32 million impressions in 13 hours global. You can't shut that off. And I had people, I have 400 unread text messages right now. And a lot of them were like, what do we got to do to get you to Talladega? So in case the world wants to know, I need $50,000 to go to Talladega. I had to pay for the crash clause for the car. So that put me about 15 grand in the hole. So I need 50 grand. So my mind thinks of like breaking that into increments of 5 and 10. 5, 10, 5, 10, 5, 10. We'll get to 50 a lot quicker that way. So I have some folks that are interested, but I was like, man, I just spent $1,200 on t-shirts and I don't have time to figure out how to put that as a merchandise store on my website. So I was like, let's make this fun. Everybody wants one. Everybody liked having fan-funded race car and putting their name on the race car. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to go out here. I'm going to do a live post, a live thread. I'm going to have a friend of mine sitting there with on the thing, taking names, addresses, and I only have a certain amount. So when they're gone, they're gone. So the highest donations in line are going to get the shirts, and that's how we're going to let this cookie crumble. And how cool would it be for the first commitment of money to get sent to a team is from t-shirts from my fans that want to see this happen. So that's the big push behind it. And the whole Talladega or bust is because I'm a race fan. If y'all watched the Xfinity race, I was sitting in the O'Reilly Series race. I was sitting in the fan zone with the fans watching on the Jumbotron eating a Philly cheesesteak. Like, I'm a race fan and I love Talladega and I want nothing more to go out there and finish what we started. There are a couple things you guys will see change. Kimmel's a small race team. They don't have a million race cars there. So we trashed the front and the rear clip of that car. And Will called me. He's like, listen, we got to make a decision. Either I need to know this is going to be a super speedway car for one race, or I'm going to turn this into an intermediate car and I'm going to have an opportunity to run more races throughout the season. I was like, well, don't let me hold you up on that. I have an idea. So I can't spill the beans yet, which means you're going to have me back on the show. But there is another team involved that is not currently in ARCA that has stepped up. And if you guys are nosy Nellies, you can find on my Facebook page, maybe, or floating around the internet, there's some pictures of another person in the photos with another race team on. And that might be how this cookie is going to crumble. So there's your little, I'm going to play a Taylor Swift moment where I'm hiding all these little clues and you're going to figure out who it is. But there is definitely an opportunity there that is going to be bigger than what I think a lot of us anticipate. So I'm really excited to be able to announce how that's going to go and who we're going to go with. And if you're at Atlanta this weekend, you might see me there doing some little recon on how this is going to go down. So there's your little teaser. But it's definitely going to be a very interesting, fun announcement coming soon if we can pull it all together.
Now, Bighorn seemed like they had a lot of fun with you in Daytona. Have they agreed to come back to help you with Talladega yet? Or
So they have not yet. I mean, that was a huge thing for them. I can tell you right now, I would love for somebody to give me the ROI tracker on that. NASCAR teams have that ability. I would love to just see what their ROI was, because I'm not going to share what they spent, but it definitely was nowhere near what I've gotten in the past for primary sponsorship. So I'm so excited for them. I think it was a great way to introduce an international company into NASCAR, into the first time. Their marketing platform is absolutely phenomenal. I'm a businesswoman first, and that entire activation, that was all this girl. So be able to showcase, not only can I drive, but I could put a full turnkey activation thing together within 60 days for you and give you a huge return. I think a lot of race teams saw that as well.
now they came into, if I'm not mistaken, Bighorn. Producer Josh is probably having a heart attack because telling me we're out of time and everything. But
I know. Well, my computer's almost going to be out of time too. So look at
I'm keeping an eye on the clock. Bighorn came to you through a letter that you wrote to them because you had bought one of their.
My dad's a disabled veteran. He has water contamination issues from Camp Lejeune, so he has Parkinson's from it, and he is an avid cooker. So he was having trouble keeping track of time and like figuring out, making sure that he could stay out there long enough on his grills. So this thing I bought on Black Friday, it cooks a steak restaurant quality in 2.5 minutes, and like the chicken tenderloins are ridiculously good. So it cooks everything, pizza ovens and all that. So I was able to get that, and I emailed him. I was just like, hey, here's my story. I'm not sure if you're interested. I was like, but we should totally collaborate on this. And it just snowballed into awesomeness. So I'm excited to see them come back. I would love for them to come back at Talladega, because who does not like a good tailgate party at Talladega?
So Bighorn Outdoors, if anybody from y'all is watching this, I want to let you know Talladega's in Alabama, and according to my Google search here, Bighorn Outdoors is located in Pelham, Alabama. And Bighorn, just so as you know, whatever you experienced in Daytona pales in comparison to the amount of campers that are in Talladega. There is a small army. You smell Talladega before you get to Talladega because of everybody grilling. So you will move a ton of product.
So cool. I'm excited.
So I'm trying to plug the heck out of it for you, because I want to see you back on. That is my favorite track. I'm going to be with producer Josh, God willing. Don't want to make my own plans. This is according to God's plan. If everything goes to place, I'll be there with producer Josh, helping him with some Clash Motorsports stuff. And I would love to see you there. I'd love to see Bighorn there. Since Alli has let us know that we have a little puzzle to solve, we have to pay attention to her Facebook and her Instagram. Is there any other online profiles that we need to keep track of to keep up to solve this puzzle?
So I actually wanted to talk about this. This is a great way to end, and I won't be very long on it. There was a lot when I was exiting out of the sport that really affected me mentally, and having social media up, and continuously seeing things from my past when it comes to racing was really bothersome. The only platform I did not go out and completely delete was Facebook. And we had lost one of our friends in racing, and my only pictures and anything of that were on that Facebook. So it's very interesting to me that I'm coming back into such a content creating world that I really don't have a large social media presence. I just literally got X. I didn't know that Twitter wasn't a thing. I didn't know it was called X until Mark Martin tweeted about me, and I got a 1,000 people messaging me that Mark Martin's talking about you. So I now have X. But Mark Martin just liked my post right now as I'm talking to you on X. This is insane to me. Mark Martin is now following me on X, everybody, just letting you know. Cool kid over here. I'm gonna let my kids know that. They'll be like, who's Mark Martin? But anyways, I say that because it shows a lot for us what we're doing on the track and what we're doing off the track in the community is more impactful than how many followers I have on a social media platform. And I can't say it louder for the people in the back, because we're doing things that are changing lives without being a social media influencer. And I want the girls out there to know you don't have to be a social media influencer to be a really badass race car driver. And I'm going to end it on that, because my Facebook page is it. Apparently I now have to be active on X, because now the GOAT of all time is like sitting here following me. But I just want to share that because I'm not really big on it. I have daughters, teenage daughters that went through cyberbullying in 6th and 7th grade. So I don't do the TikTok thing or any of that. So I just want to share that with everybody, that I appreciate the support on Facebook. I appreciate the support on Instagram. I'm trying to do YouTube. I really am awful at that, but just letting you know what we're doing on and off the track is so humbling, and I appreciate the opportunity to do that. And my website, alliowensracing.com, is probably the best thing you can do to kind of keep track also of contacting me for things. I don't do Messenger at all, so I apologize. Don't hate me.
I can attest to that, ladies and gentlemen. I can attest to that. So when the shirt thing goes live, where do we need to be looking for that? Is that going to be on your Facebook?
I'm not going to do it just like, oh, hey guys, I'm live. I'm going to have a lead up. We're going to do a countdown. We'll probably do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 day countdown. There will be some other little fun things that we'll do: autograph cards, t-shirts, all that stuff. Probably do a giveaway with the Bighorn Outdoor Grill for the biggest donation. So we're going to make it a whole thing, get the fans interacted, get them involved, and every single penny is going to go back to that race car to be able to go on track for Talladega. And like I said, there's some little hints dropping all over the place on what that's going to look like and who that's going to be with. So keep your little eyes peeled.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you better be paying attention to Alli Owens and what she's got going on. No,
I want to say this too, real quick, before we hop off here. I'm not abandoning Kimmel. They're coming with me. But it's definitely not going to be just a Kimmel ran car.
Okay, well that's great. I'm happy to see that your vision is a little bit further down the road. You weren't just Daytona and done. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Alli Owens, the strong female figurehead of the ARCA garage area right now. So, and that's what we need. That's what we need in the sport. We need a strong woman that these other young ladies that may be misguided or maybe just have questions and need that mother, in the garage area. So Jeff Burton was the mayor. You can be the mother of the garage.
I'm the mom. The race car mom.
Well, all right, y'all. Stay tuned to Alli Owens on Facebook, on Instagram. On Instagram, you are Racer Mom.
The race car mom.
The race car mom. And get you some shirts. Help Alli get on track at Talladega. And Alli, just thanks again for coming back on. And we look forward to hearing from you again and seeing what the future has in store and our Lord has in store for you down the road and the family. So thanks a lot for coming.
Thank you for having me again.
Oh, and I'm getting out of here. I almost forgot. There is this savage, evil algorithm beast that we need to tame, ladies and gentlemen. So help us at the Also Ran broadcast to defeat this algorithm. And the way you do that is you like and subscribe to our channel. Leave some comments. Let us look. We know you know how to leave the comments because producer Josh had some things to say about our boy Cletus, your boy Cletus, and y'all are very vocal about it. So keep that stuff coming. That fuels us. If you're listening on the audio realm, then just give us a rate and review, and we appreciate that. So until next time, that's been your breaking news.
This just in. Breaking news.